there is such a thing as the hidden job market, where up to like 60% of jobs, actually I have some reports I saw 80% of jobs aren't actually advertised.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Hence
Oh,
why the importance of networking, right?
well, yeah.
If you think about it, right, any company with a healthy corporate culture, their two main sources of hire should be internal mobility and referrals,
Right.
employer referrals. So again, going back to the example of Jamie Incorporated, right, needs to hire another, kick-ass producer for their podcast, right? Dennis, who do you know, right? Because Dennis, you're a performer, and you like-minded performers hang out with other-minded performers, right? So, but now if Dennis doesn't like, oh, I don't know anybody, right? That's a sign that the corporate culture isn't really good, right? For some folks, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's right. So, now that we're kind of talking about sending your resume out and, the whole resume building process, just does it really have to be one page?
yeah, no, sorry. I don't, every time everybody asks me this question, I always go back to like my days in HR, which is like, how do you start a fight in HR fight club? Ask for the length of
Right?
a
Because I've
resume.
heard so many
And like, you'll
conflicting
have HR
things.
professionals on, yeah, like, oh, there's so much conflicting information on the resume. And that's because there's no such thing as a perfect resume. And I've
Okay.
even had this discussion and some healthy debates amongst my career education colleagues. But like, here's the thing, one page, 2 pages, in my opinion, it doesn't matter as long as it's relevant, right? Now, there are some companies that will specifically say in the application process, please tell us in one page why you're a great fit for this job. Guess what? That's a test. It's a test to see if you can follow directions.
Right.
There'll be people that'll send over like a 2-page resume and they'll automatically be disqualified from it, right? So I always tell this to students, early talent, anybody looking for work, read the directions on how to apply. They're there for a reason, right? It's a test. Oftentimes it's a test. So, but to answer your question, Dennis, whether resume should be 1 page or 2 page, I always go back to, it should be relevant. It should just have the relevant skills to the job you're applying to, right? So if you can put the relevant skills in a well-designed 1-page resume, then go for it, right? If you have the experiences to fill up 2 pages, but they're relevant, then I also say go for it, right? The most critical thing in this whole exercise, though, whether it's 1 page or 2 page, is relevancy, right? Followed next by recency, right? It's kind of like a Google search, to be quite honest with you, right? Like Google gives you the most relevant information and the most recent information.
Right.
So yeah, so if you've got some experiences there from like high school did its job. It got you to where you are. You don't need to put that in there, right? But really always think about relevancy, right? Now, here's another pro tip. If you decide to go with 2 pages, great, but understand this, the most relevant information should be on page 1.
Right.
Because the average resume gets about 6 seconds of the recruiter or the hiring manager's attention, right? Where they're just trying to scan, where's the relevancy here? And I'm going to put you in pile A. If I have to think about it, you're going to pile B. And guess what? I'm not going to call you. No one gets called from pile B. It's very rare that they get called from pile B, right? So, the 1 page, 2 page debate, I'm on actually, I always say relevant, just be relevant. If you can do it in 1 page, amazing. Wicked. Let's just go with that then, right? If you can get to 2 pages and it's relevant, then more power to you as well, right? I worked with a hiring manager once who hired someone with a 15-page resume.
Are you serious?
I'm not advocating that we deliver War and Peace to everybody, but again, that's the other thing too. As many HR people have these notions on how long an HR resume should be, like we're not the only ones that look at your resume. It's very rare that we influence the decision to hire, but it's ultimately the hiring manager that makes that decision. And I've worked with some hiring managers like, Maurice, why is this person sending me 2-page resumes? Don't they understand it's 1 page? I'm like, okay, that's your view, right? I used to recruit for 2 national breweries, and they couldn't look at resumes and like brewmaster. You would think that it's the exact same job. People, the job function's the exact same, but the way they would hire people is totally different. The values that they would look for, what they would look for in resumes was totally different. So you have to be really cognizant of that too, as a candidate, right? And you can get clues and cues from the way they put their job postings out, how their social content gets put out, if they have any employer generated social media content. Look at that, look for themes on what they're looking for, right?